I would like to know what aspects of Arthur were you particularly excited to delve into that character, considering he's now faced with notoriety and celebrity?
Well, a little bit of that, a little bit how Arthur would react to that, not Joker as much, but how would Arthur react to some of that notoriety and celebrity, but also what does Arthur look like when presented with love in his life. I think while the first movie was a lot about childhood trauma that Arthur suffered from, it was also about the lack of love, what that does to a person. And in this movie, to present that to him, what would that effect be on him? That was something that we really wanted to explore.
Obviously, you created such a specific atmosphere within the first Joker film. When you step back onto set for the first day with Joker Folie, how was the feeling? How was that sensation? Was it like slipping into an old pair of shoes or something once you got there?
Well, no. I mean, yes, in some regard, we work with the same crew, and all the people behind the scenes are, people I've worked with for 15 years on movies. But it's always a little bit intimidating to come back to something that was so beloved. I think it was important that we find Arthur in this film in the very beginning, having had that little bit of light that he had in him extinguished. So it's kind of a different Arthur we meet in some ways, worse off than even in the beginning of the first film. So yeah, it was different.
How about collaborating with Joaquin again? Obviously, you guys had found your groove in the first film to a very successful degree. How was it stepping back into this? Was it instantly a rapport? Or?
That part for sure. I mean, Joaquin and I, it's funny. Obviously, it's not exclusive to Joaquin and I. You see actors and directors working with each other over and over, and I totally understand why. I've done it myself even before Joaquin. You develop a shorthand with each other that is just so helpful. When making a movie, you kind of can complete each other's sentences or thoughts about where a scene should go or where it's headed. So that part was actually really comfortable.
I was reading the director's notes, and you said that you allowed some looseness in the takes and in some of the scenes. Was there any particularly magic moments that you found from allowing your actors to be loose?
I mean, it's so hard to answer that because it's all over the movie, and it's always like that. It was like that in the first one. It was like that in the comedies I've made, in the Hangover movies and everything else. Like, I think it's kind of the job of a director to create an environment where an actor feels really at ease, really safe to come up with an idea, good or bad, and try it. And anything that gets him comfortable in the space and able to perform is, I think, really what your job is.
And the casting of Lady Gaga seems like a stroke of genius at this point as well, because she just seems perfect for the role. How did you find the collaboration? I mean, it's a very broad question, but please, it's a...
Well, I mean, I knew she was, she's got one of the best voices in the world, so that was obvious. She brings music with her, which was a big kind of why her, and then on top of that, her access to vulnerability was something that was really important for this character. But at the same time, probably the most surprising thing, for not to speak for Joaquin, but for both of us, I think, was how hard she worked and how serious she took it. And again, those are two things for a director that you just want from an actor. And I guess part of me wasn't sure that would be there, and it just was. I mean, we were amazed.
But throughout the film as well, there's a lot of British and Irish talent on display. Brendan Gleeson, Lee Dale, Steve Coogan. Was there a specific purpose as to why you picked these roles? Is there something about British and Irish talent which appeals to you?
I mean, a lot of directors, I think, feel this, some of our best actors come out of the UK. I mean, it just is true. But it's not an intentional thing of me going, we want a British or an Irish actor here. I mean, Lee is Lee. Lee was in the first movie, and he devastated us in the first movie. We had to bring Lee back. But yeah, Brendan, I mean, is a world-class actor, and Steve Coogan can do anything. He's just amazing to have around. It's always interesting to me to put somebody like Joaquin toe-to-toe, essentially, literally, with another actor, and you really want to put him across somebody great. In the first movie, he had a 9-minute scene with Robert De Niro, right? And in this movie, he has a 9-minute scene essentially with Steve Coogan. And to me, as a director, those are the fun ones to watch, where you're like, oh boy, here we go. Let me see these two go at it. And it's Coogan just holds his own. He's amazing.
I love Steve Coogan, but I think this might be his best performance I've ever seen in
Wow.
a film. It's honestly fantastic.
Great.
I'd like to know about the decision to implement live singing on set. What benefits did that present to you as opposed to deciding to record in post?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much people would understand it, but it's such a huge difference to do it live. And for all the thing of like, oh my God, that must be so hard. It's like, to us, it was the only way to do it, especially with an actor like Joaquin. We had the benefit of obviously Gaga, who could sing live all day long and be like dead on great, or exactly as Lee should sound, I should say, throughout the day. But an actor like Joaquin, he wants it to always feel different. And if you're suddenly singing, lip syncing to a track we made 3 months ago, that's just not how he acts, because it's very much affected by the set, by the look of the other actor, meaning the looks you might give me as an actor changes his demeanor. So you really need to give Joaquin that freedom, and Gaga in the songs, to kind of dictate their own tempo.
And finally, for me, very quickly, I know directors want their films to be seen in the cinemas. What components within Joker Folie or Deux which you would like audiences to experience?
Yeah, I mean, for me, every filmmaker wants their movies. See, it's not even specific to my movie. It's all movies should be seen in the cinema, because when we make these movies, we're imagining 200-300 people in the theater around, you're sitting amongst strangers. We're imagining the sound surrounding you and that immersive experience. And while we might all have good TVs at home and good speakers, it's an entirely different environment when all the lights go out and again, you're around 300 strangers and you just sort of let go. So, it's not exclusive to this film, but I just think it's such an important component of filmmaking.
Todd, thank you so much for making this film. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's honestly fantastic.
Pleasure to meet you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!